Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Voices, the podcast that amplifies the perspective of young change makers who are actively shaping our nation's future. I'm your host, Donald Jose, a social work student dedicated in human rights and an aspiring leader. So today we are diving into the role of youth in nation building, exploring how young people are transforming political landscape, breaking down barriers to civic participation, and creating new pathways for engagement that previous generation never imagined. So today we are being joined by incredible guests, which is Alvin Gukuta and Tanyara Zojani. So Alvin, can you please just introduce yourself?
Okay, thank you, Brother Donald. So I'm Gukuta Alvin, a student at the University of Zimbabwe, currently studying economics and development, and I'm also a tutor at CBTS, that is Center of Business and Technical Skills. Basically, that's how I would want to introduce myself, and I'm really honored to be on this platform.
Okay, thank you so much, Alvin. Tanyara, can you introduce yourself?
Okay, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tanyara Zojani, a social work student at Women's University in Africa. I am the president of the Student Representative Council as well, and I believe that that marks me as an advocate for social change as well, and I'm honored to be on this platform.
Okay, thank you so much, Tanyara and Alvin. So, guys, I welcome you to today's podcast. I would love to hear much of your perspective, because I believe you are the young people who are in the journey of building our future as youth. So I'll be asking questions around issues of how our political landscape is being shaped by young people. So I'll start with Alvin. Alvin, can you just tell me how, if there is any successful youth movement that have been shaping the political landscape up to now?
All right. Thanks very much for the wonderful question. So I would love to believe that when you talk of a successful shaping of the future in the political landscape, it is also marked by bringing Zimbabweans into unity globally and nationally. So it is also marked by a quite number of things, which includes making a sense of pride and demanding maybe governance or democracy upon a certain cause. So basically that's it. So looking at maybe in 2014, there is an Occupy Africa Unity Square that happened, which was propounded by Itai Dzamara in 2014. I would love to believe that it was an engagement which they demanded an end to corruption and transparency and accountability in terms of using public funds. I would love to believe that it's a wonderful youth engagement, which was then successful, which was also then escalated in 2016 by Comrade Ostalos Siziba, and they also demanded transparency and accountability in terms of using public funds, which then was then responded to by the government by issuing the Auditors General reports for public consumption, and also adhering to what they have infused in the Constitution, which is Section 62, to say that information is a public good. It should be accessible to everyone else. So basically, that's it.
Okay, beautiful. As I was hearing you presenting, it seems like the youth have got the potential to change narratives. So I would like to ask you another question. On those successful movements that we done, what are some of the obstacles that we faced by those people who are like leading the movements?
All right. In terms of leading the movements, we have a lot of obstacles that we have been facing, we have been facing as the youth. Number one, we can talk of restrictive laws. The laws especially in the Zimbabwean legal spectrum, they restrict people in terms of the law is there, in terms of the Constitution, black and white is there. But in terms of implementing, we are not even pragmatic to say that you can even write to the police, you can write to those who are in the offices to say that maybe you want to conduct a peaceful demonstration. Trust me, they won't allow you to do so. So basically, the legal spectrum on its own is failing to then give young people, or to then give the citizens, the opportunity for them to express themselves. And also we can talk of lack of resources. In as much as we are youth, we want to engage each and every youth. So now we are constituting more than 60% of the population, and we would want to engage each and every youth. Suppose there is a change or in the constitution, or there is what we call the bylaws are being imposed and we would want youth to participate in such spaces, at some point we tend to fail to reach out to some other people, maybe in rural areas, because we don't have enough resources to get hold of those young people who are in those spaces. And then there is what we call intimidation and violence. You have realized maybe from August shooting that happened in 2017, it then attests to young people being reprimanded from expressing their voice against maybe some of the things that we can say it might be preposterous that is being done by the government. So basically those are the challenges that are being faced within the landscape or political landscape of Zimbabwe.
Okay, great insights on that one. So in other terms, we are saying youth are being deprived of their political right to participate, right?
Yeah, basically
Okay.
that's it.
So as a young person, Alvin, what do you think can we do to minimize or to challenge those obstacles so that we can pave a way for us as young people to make our voice heard in whatever that we want to do?
All right, I would love to call them as the new pathway, right? So we have to adjust to the new normal, to say that now we are young people and we literally know how best can we navigate through a political landscape which is intimidating, which has got violence, which is responding to our demands in violence. We have to engage some of the organizations like Youth Decide Zimbabwe, who are engaging into soft advocacy, to say that we carry out our research, we present our fact sheets. Now we are trying to reach a consensus with those who are occupying the public offices, to say that they have to understand things from our perspective, because they have been indoctrinated with the fact that the youths are against the government. Literally, we are not against the government, but we are trying to bring them to light, to see them, for them to see life, for them to see from our perspective. But maybe there is information disparity and maybe that age gap which is in between. So now that we have different platforms, we have TikTok, we have WhatsApp, we have Facebook, we can also advocate on those platforms. And basically we can also do what we call collaborations and coalitions, to say that if you can't beat them, join them. But when you are joining them, you have to know that you have a trajectory that you are shaping, that you, during conversations now and again, they'll end up understanding where you are coming from and where you are going.
Okay, thank you so much, Alvin. I have noticed that there is need for collaboration, and we need to make sure that our inputs are being heard. And when we are joining, I just like that you are saying we need to join them, right? And when we are joining them, we need to make sure that we know our mission and we don't need to be diverted from what we are aiming, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
sure.
thank you
That's
so
it.
much. Thank you so much.
That's
So,
right.
Chanyarazwa, I have a simple question for you. What do you think? I used to hear people saying, youth, we are the future of tomorrow. But for me, I think there is in something, I believe we are not the future of tomorrow, but we are the future of today. What's your take on that?
Yes, I believe that we are the future of today. Is it?
Okay, not tomorrow.
we are the future of both today and tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes, we are the future of both today, because our actions today have an impact tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes, it has an impact tomorrow. Yes.
Okay. So, what do you think, Tanyara, as well, as young people, maybe to say in the policy making, what unique insights do you believe young people can bring to the table that will make impact on the nation building?
Okay, so firstly, let me talk about empowerment and representation, right? So we as young people, if we engage in participation in terms of politics, we are able to express our views and aspirations. Looking at our Zimbabwean context, right, we have unique issues such as education, unemployment, healthcare facilities, the access to such facilities. We've got technology restrictions. So these are issues that are impacting us as young people. So if us as young people have the flow, we are given the space whereby we address such issues and we come up with such solutions, right? We are able to ensure that these concerns and perspectives are actually represented, probably in terms of policy making. And also, I would like to talk about how we are able to drive innovation and change. So as we are more adaptable to change, and we are actually able to harness innovation for development, we as young people, we actually have that flow whereby we gain a deeper insight on how best we can bring change. Because I believe with fresh minds, we are able to come up with sustainable solutions to issues, because we believe that these modern day issues are mostly affecting the young people. So within that capability of being able to harness change, on how we are based to able to harness innovation, we come up with sustainable solutions for the problems that are very much impacting us as young people.
Okay, thank you so much. So, Tanyarazo, what do you think is the best way to go about in engaging policymakers so that they can take our views and perspective, maybe concerning a certain issue? Let's say we're talking about issues like education, youth, which are affecting us. How best do you think we need to approach those policymakers? Because most of the time when we approach, maybe we get an opportunity, we end up noticing that even those views and insights that we have shared with those people are not even implemented. So how best can we make sure that our perspectives are taken into consideration?
How best can you do that? Well, I believe that we have to actively participate. So as we present our issues, we should not just come up with the problems. We should not just present the problems and how they're impacting us. I believe we should also come up with sustainable solutions. Because I believe if you address a problem, it also means that as you're able to identify that problem, you had solutions, you had suggestions, you had recommendations on how to best go about them. You cannot come up with a problem without a solution. So as you address these issues to the policymakers, we also need to ensure that we do active follow-ups. We have to inform, we have to engage our fellow youths that this is what we have come up with, this is what we have presented to the policymakers, so that there is proactiveness as they take our issues into account. And I also believe that we as the young people, as you are also saying that we are the future of tomorrow, we have to ensure that our voices are being heard. That is why we believe that youth participation in politics is very much necessary, because it ensures that everyone is represented, particularly the youth. Because looking at the statistics as well, I believe we have about 67% of the population, right? So as much as we are in those numbers, I believe we also have the very right to be heard, and we also have the very right to have our concerns very much considered by the policymakers, because they have to ensure that as they hear our voices, they have to consider that we are actually not just addressing them to ensure that we solve the problems that are going on today, but also the problems that are going to be faced tomorrow. We'll be trying to very much curb the tomorrow problems.
Okay, thank you so much, Tanyara. Okay, Alvin.
All right, yeah, sure. I wanted to interject, concurring to what Tanaka is saying. So I've come to realize that if we say we want to have our concerns heard by who? Since she said we are supposed to come with a problem, we present a problem, but we are supposed to come with a solution to a problem, which means that we are literally the solutions to our problems. So as young people, as the youth, like she has mentioned, we are 67%, which means that we as the youth, even in the public offices, we are poorly represented. For example, we that the youth quota and everything else, you see that probably the number of youth that are in the parliament, that they don't even sum up to 10. If 10, that's a privilege. So which means that even if you're arguing for a certain policy, because there are those people who are in those public offices, they are indoctrinated with the fact that the youth, they are weak people, or probably we don't have the right or the jurisdictions, or our mind is not quite enough for us to do so. So we are going to be outnumbered. So probably we are not going to come up with something meaningful. So there is supposed to be a reshuffle in terms of the representation of the youth in the parliament.
Okay, Alvin, you are bringing a beautiful issue. So I think in terms of representation, what do you think, Alvin, us as young people can do? Because if you look at the issue of representation, maybe in the higher offices and in terms of police advocacy and police making, if we go as young people and we present our issues, they will just agree with us. But at the end of the day, we won't see anyone. It is funny sometimes if you attend these workshops. You see it's being said it's a youth workshop or a youth conference, but it's being led by someone who is not even a youth.
All right. Thank you very much for that question. Yeah, I would love to term it tokenism, to say that they will call you, they will let you get seated in those meetings, but they are not going to consider your suggestions. So I guess what we are then supposed to do for enough or a meaningful representation of the youth in the parliament and all those public offices, we are supposed to start what we call grassroots engagement. To say that if we are aspiring to get hold of those public offices, we are not supposed to just say all of a sudden I'm coming from my community and they say I want to be an MP. Even those people that are in the community, they don't have confidence in me. So if I start by aspiring to be a councillor, and then they see the great works that I'm doing as a councillor, they say this person is quite capable of being an MP, and then I'm aspiring positions now and again, escalating that philosophy up until reach out to the position that you ever wanted to be. So I guess it's all about step by step, now and again, here and there, and then probably we can.
That's really interesting of it. And for me, I don't think we need to start from the councillor position.
All right.
We just need to start from the grassroots level. Maybe to say at our community level, like Tanyara's is now the SRC president. So she's trying to build bit by bit. At the end of the day, if she can say, I want to be a councillor now, people will recognize her. So Tanyara's, I just have another question. I believe you are the SRC president, right? So what are some of the challenges and ways that you use to address some of the issues that were affecting students at your university? Maybe one or two.
Okay, so firstly, I would like to talk about the repressive environment. Considering that we are students, right? We are service users of the services being provided by our institutions. So at times it becomes difficult to represent the students, as the institution has got its own ambitions, and then we as students have got our own issues going on. So it becomes really difficult, because as a leader, I'm supposed to bridge that gap, that communication gap between the institution and the students. It really becomes difficult in the sense that I am part of the student body, I am also part of the institution itself. So it puts me in a tight position, because at the same time I have to align with the vision of the institution, and also have to align with the vision of the students. So you are very much caught in between. In as much as I'm a student, at the end of the day, I'm also representing the institution to the students. So at times you're really caught up, and then there's also lack of support from the institution from time to time, because at times they would see that what you're trying to really much aspire here very much contracts with what they'll be focusing on. So it really becomes difficult. And then there are some issues that are very much controversial that you might try to present to the institution, and they might not really align with the institution, and it becomes difficult now to get support from the institution. So it's a 50-50 thing, as you tend to be caught in between both parties.
Okay, yeah, interesting. So I believe, are you getting support from the student, maybe to say you come up with something that you want it to be solved, and when you reach out to the students, are they buying your ideas, or they are just resistant? Because I believe most of the time it's only two people in a community that are aware of there is a budget consultants program, there is this and this, and even at the campus you wonder, people, they don't even know there is a say what program at the school. So how are you going about it?
Okay, thank you so much for that one. So I believe I'm getting support from the students, because recently we had a program. It was the Economic Prosperity Panel. So this was hosted by our institution, and then they informed us that they needed students. So I had to really dig deeper into what the program was really about, so that I could have information on how I was going to disseminate it to fellow students. And there was a huge turn-up, really. So I believe that if you go to the students and you present your issues to them, that this is what we have in plan, this is what we have in Notion, and we need your attendance, they will definitely come. Because I believe that when they voted for me and elected me into office, they knew that I was going to be one of the people who will be bringing change, who will be bringing empowerment programs, who will be bringing opportunities to them. So if you go about with with a program, with an opportunity, a networking opportunity, they'll definitely come because they believe that this is what I'll be standing for.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. So my last question will be just a call to action towards this issue, to our listeners and all those people out there, our targeted audience. So what are some of the few words that you want to left them with as a way of call to action for everyone to participate in this advocacy journey? Maybe we start with you, Tanyarazo.
Okay, so to every young person out there, I would like to encourage them to be very much vibrant. Let us not embrace our issues. Let us come out. Let's talk about them. Let us be people who are change makers. We are leaders of today and tomorrow. So if we start today, it will have an impact tomorrow as well, because we'll be able to address these issues today and find different ways forward on how we can go about them. And let us be the advocates for change as well. Let us not just sit back and relax. And I would like to encourage young people as well to be people who are very much accountable for their actions. Thank you.
Okay, so Alvin.
Well, just to build up from what Madam President has been saying, I would love to believe that young people, we are supposed to be readers. We are supposed to be knowledgeable about the things that we are advocating for. And we have to also embrace the art of soft advocacy. Soft advocacy is something which is good because it's not something that you cannot fight with numbers. You cannot fight with numbers to say that I've presented my fact sheets, I'm advocating something that has got empirical evidence, rather than us going into the streets and trying to interrogate them from a perspective. Because when you try to interrogate a government from a perspective that is harsh, they try to be repressive also. So if we can engage them softly, trust me. And also the youths out there, what we are supposed to do is to make sure that we sensitize each and every youth about the ongoing issues. A good example, we can check it out from Kenya, right, if not mistaken. You realize that the youths were the ones that went on and explained the bill to the other youths so that they can have a clear appreciation. Because when those policies are being propounded, when those policies are being fabricated, they use that terminology that we as economists, we might understand, as people have studied law. But there's someone who's down there in my rural country, he doesn't know that how does this mean and how best I'm supposed to go about this policy. So if we can then give a layman's explanation to those policies and they understand where our nation is coming from and where we are going, basically it can help us in terms of enumerating numbers when we are now making something a movement, when you're coming up with an advocacy issue.
Okay, thank you so much, Alvin. But a quick one and a short one.
Okay.
Do you think it's feasible for us as young people? Nowadays we're just calling ourselves busy people, busy doing 1, 2, 3 things. So maybe to say there is an ongoing bill drafting or something like that. Can you, Alvin, yourself, go out there and educate even 1 or 2 people, youth in your community?
Thank you very much, Brian. So I would love to respond to that question in a scenario which is a lived reality. So for me, what then happens is, back then I joined organizations like SEWAT, so we were disseminating information to the community. So it's really simple for me to do so. And a good example is when we were doing the budget consultations last year at Ambassador Hotel. I went with 3 people. I just managed to pay for their bus fares and everything, and I had to tell them what to talk about. You are going to talk about the agricultural sector, you're going to talk about the informal sector, and I myself had to talk about the health sector. So that only, it made an impact in the sense that last year, when we were looking at the Abuja declaration, we were supposed to be allocated 15% of the budget, but they couldn't. They allocated 9%, and then that 9%, they then allocated 34.7% of the disbursement of funds. But this year, they've allocated a percentage. It's not up to 15%, but it's a little bit higher than 9%, which then attested to the power of advocacy in terms of numbers. So basically, that's it.
Thank you so much. I'm just noticing that we have great leaders in the house, because you guys are just sacrificing your own man to pay for someone so that you make our voice heard. I think if some of the youth can hear this will be something great to just say, us as young people, at some point we don't need to wait for others to give us money, to give us resources. Sometimes we'll be around in town and most of the budget consultations or most of the things are happening around town. So yeah, thank you so much, Tanyarazo. Thank you so much, Alvin. So to our listeners, thank you so much, guys. So we're looking forward to hear everyone's views, perspectives, so that we can build a nation that we aspire to have, so that we can bring new perspectives and do away with old narratives that you are the future of only tomorrow, but you are the future of today and tomorrow as well. So thank you so much.